correct when he said, people, you like win Dota right now based off your play style, and I've kind of had the same realization in the past couple of weeks, like pivoting around what I'm good at, which what I'm good at is being like a cunt. I'm good at split pushing. I'm good at being a fucking asshole. Like what am I not good at? I don't know, like just farming, just like
Passively farming, sitting
just
back,
passive.
not doing anything. Yeah.
Like I'm not like if there's a fight that's gonna happen, I'm gonna like probably show up to it or like do something that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the most fun that I have when playing Dota is when I'm fucking with the enemy team and like laughing my ass off. Like that's why probably I have such a high win rate with support sniper and Nature's Prophet, because these heroes are just fuckers. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think it's like I think you can play all of the popular heroes though with that play style. Like there are so many ways of playing Doom or playing Natures or
You just
playing
have to
Earth stuff.
itemize slightly different for each one. It's like,
Yeah, you have to itemize and skill build, and then just
yep.
like position yourself on the map a little bit differently, and then all of a sudden you're playing like more of a split pushing like asshole Doom or a tanky frontlining Doom. Like there's a lot of ways that you can play a lot of these heroes, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But I don't want to be that guy that's just trying to emulate, that's just trying to pretend to be, Team Secret or try to be Zai, because it's like he's a different person. And if I'm going to be successful as a professional player, it's because I have my own style that I'm good at, that fits within my personality.
Yeah, I actually think that's a really important point to just have in mind because
Look at that, Donnie.
ooh, look at those biceps. They're almost as big as mine these days.
You
That's
think
like,
so?
yeah.
Wow, you're tough, man. I saw you in person. You got muscles. I can't
Yeah,
see.
shit.
Let me look on stream.
It'll be up in a little bit.
Okay, let's see. Oh, why is my camera so far down?
That's that's like
Where's your muscles? What's going on here? I want to see the muscles.
just passed. You just missed it.
Oh, I'm catching up to live now.
I mean, the thing is, that's like 17 years of work and then 4 years of atrophy. So I used to be way stronger.
Those are nice biceps. Dude,
Anyway,
I feel like dudes are like more into looking at each other like in the gym. Like girls don't actually care about dudes having
yeah,
like strong dudes are just looking at each other like, fuck man, that guy's got huge muscles. I wish I had
yeah,
those.
dude, it's everybody. Well, it's because most dudes have really really low self-esteem. I think in general.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I can
Yeah.
definitely attest to that. Let me go and brush my hair.
But what I was gonna say is, I think it's really important, like you were saying, to play in the style that fits you personally. And I think that when you're looking at like pro replays or you're watching our content, like your Nature's Prophet guide, it's important to like take the information and then try it out and then absorb the stuff that fits with how you want to play the game and then discard the rest of it. Because like if you are, like you said, if you're trying to play literally as Zai without being Zai, without having his brain, it's not going to work the
Yeah,
same.
it's not. Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm so wholeheartedly on the train of just thinking one way about Dota, absolutely, and just constantly adjusting it. Like I cannot stress how important I think that is and how much I think that's contributed in the past couple of weeks to my uh, pretty fast MMR growth. I don't want to say it's like skyrocketed, but 300 MMR over like 2 weeks at 6K rating is quite a bit, at least for me. That's like, to climb 300 rating at 6K has taken me months before.
Yeah. I actually have encountered this twice.
I think
in two.
I think I've accidentally done it before, but now I'm actually realizing what it
Right.
is that I'm doing.
Yeah, in the last two games that I played, I definitely did this to like an extreme, and both of them were because I had like legitimate griefers on my team. But I won both of the games because I instantly made a decision, and then I didn't deviate from that. So one game I was playing with somebody who was like a support who was just not, he was refusing to play support, and so
Yeah.
I was playing 4, and he was just building carry items, and we were against a bunch of invisible people. So I literally was just like, all right, I literally am going to spend all of my gold on sentry wards for the rest of the game. And I did. And I covered literally the entire fucking map in sentry wards. And I had like, treads and like a bracer and a wand. and then like 40 sentry wards on the map.
Dude, I'm
and we
telling
won
you,
because it was Mirana and Bounty Hunter against us, and they literally couldn't do anything.
I'm telling you, man, just believe that that's the best thing to do.
Yep.
Just keep believing it until it doesn't work.
Yep.
And then you'll be so. I don't know what it is because I'm not a psychologist, but something about that method just makes it so that I don't go into games playing these heroes that I believe very strongly things about them. I don't go into games playing those heroes, and I'm never really anxious or confused or not know what to do. You know what I mean? Because it's like I just have this opinion that this is the best way of playing Dota, and I just do it, and I just replicate it every single time. I don't know. It feels so much more smooth. It just feels like I'm not getting anxious. I'm not getting anxious when playing with like pro players. I can play with like top 100 players and do really well when I'm playing these heroes because, and like I'll control the game. I'll like fucking annoy people. Like with the Nature's Prophet or Sniper, people on the enemy team flame me.
Yeah.
And you know when they're like, "What are you doing?" Question mark. You know when they're doing that.
Right.
You're bothering them, and if you're bothering them, you're playing good Dota.
Right.
Like when you ever have the enemy team question marking you, unless you're doing something that's fucking annoying. Like it doesn't happen. The enemy team's not. They're usually fighting amongst themselves. So I consider it to be like a feat of strength if you can get the enemy team to hate you.
I totally agree.
That's obviously a good thing. And the only reason, so I'm keeping a journal now. So I have like some notes that I have, is that I'm literally like noting like what items I'm going for and what timings. I'm not timings like minute timings, because I think that's stupid. I think that's a stupid way of looking at Dota. I know a lot of people in like Archon and stuff think about that, and I actually think that's an incorrect mentality, and an incorrect mentality like that will lead to you staying, at a low rating. Like I don't like that way of looking at Dota. But I'll say like, okay, I want to go like I go boots, I go wand. Here's when I'll go wand as a first item. When I get this feeling, I'll go for crowns because I need the last hitting power. Like this on Leshrac, I'll send a lot of clarities after I get the Atos, and before I get the Atos. Like these are notes that I'm taking where it's like depending on the game, I'll just be like, oh, in this game I felt like I had no mana. I'm just going to take a note that I need to send out more clarities. And then in the future game, the next game will be like, okay, I'm going to set up more clarities. Oh, now this thing is happening that's fucking me over. I need to do this differently. And then all of a sudden I have this flow chart for playing Leshrac where people in 6K are banning Jenkins Leshrac, and they're like, oh, Jenkins can only play Leshrac. And it's like, fuck, dude, a week ago I couldn't. It's just that I've formulated this way of playing the hero by constantly going into games with a very strong opinion on it, and then changing that as my opinion gets like shattered, and it like hurts your heart, man. It hurts when your opinion gets shattered. That's what makes it so memorable.
You know what I love about that is that you're literally approaching Dota from a developer's perspective, which is that you like create a thesis and then you try to build it and then shit breaks and then you have to fix it and then like redevelop it. Exactly.
And it makes sense actually, like in terms of like you said, from a developer perspective. So I made a game with my buddy from high school like a year or two ago. I don't know if you remember, Donnie, but it was like a little bit of a Java kind of like, it was going to be this story-based kind of RPG game, and it was pretty fun. It actually ended up getting greenlit, which is very convenient, which is very cool, but we didn't end up doing it because basically we had committed to so much for the greenlight that we didn't want to do because it would be like a 5-year project for like a $5 game. So we basically decided it wasn't worth it, but the game was fun enough to be greenlit, and there was a point where we were like, this is a fun game. We're going to play test it. This is like where we're going to go with the game. We had a friend play it, and we had combat in the game, and he literally ran through all of the creatures that we put in the game and ignored them, and they all just chased him, and he had no fucking idea what to do. And it was embarrassing for me because I made this whole combat system, and he wasn't even fighting. Right. So what we did? We've removed combat. We literally removed combat as a thing in the game. And it's obviously so different to take a game that is based around having combat and to remove combat. But the complete final picture of what we wanted for the game, and the game that actually ended up getting greenlit, and the game that people were having, a good time playing it, that game was completely different from the thing that we first started with. But at every point during the process, we believed wholeheartedly that was where we wanted the game to go. You know what I mean? Like we were sure that our opinion of what we wanted the future to be for the game and where we were going for development was the correct way to go. And then we would just play test it, and somebody would be like, this is fucking awful. This is so boring. or this is confusing, and we were just like, shit, that we didn't think that was confusing.
Right.
But then we ended up with something that was actually great. We ended up with something that is like, I'm very proud of it as a game. Like, you can play it right now and you'll have fun with it. Like,
Right.
we still have the we still have it on the green light. Like, you can still download it. And the buddy that I worked with, Jesse, he showed it to like one of his like game design professors, and he said this professor was trying the boss for like 45 minutes and he like refused to quit. Like, he wanted to beat the boss.
That's awesome.
And it's like,
dude.
man, that's fucking awesome. But we didn't even have bosses in like the first iteration. You know what I mean? And it's the exact same thing for Dota builds. You need to have this idea that's going to be constantly shattered, and that's why it's so exhausting to be a professional player, because you basically have to constantly like think that you're the best and then disappoint yourself, because that's the only way to develop a process for playing the game.
Yeah. Hey, Samar Abijuma, yes, we probably will answer your question if you put it in chat in a little bit. We have to go through the Patreon questions first, but then we'll get to chat ones later because there aren't a ton of Patreon questions this week.
Yeah.
And before we hop into Alchemy Answers, I did want to just show you one little thing. It'll pop up on stream a little bit later for you, but it's the flow chart basically. So flow, or the zone that I talk about a lot.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
So it's basically like, this is what people have decided is sort of what like creates the optimal conditions to have a zone experience or a flow state. And on the bottom it would say it says
arousal.
it says skill level,
Okay.
low to high also, and then the bottom one is boredom. Can't see it because there's not enough room. But basically you want to be at this like perfect spot where your skill level and the challenge level is just enough to where like you're fully engaged, but you're not like out of control, or you're not scared about playing like shit. That's why playing a hero like Doom 50 games in a row is going to get you to that point where you have such good competency on it. But if you're playing against people that are way better than you, because you're so competent on the hero, it kind of equalizes the fact that you might be the worst player in the game. That allows you to like play out of your mind in certain circumstances. But obviously you can go too far in that direction, where if you're just playing Doom for 50 games, then suddenly you're just like, this hero is so boring to play. And then even if you are like against really, really good people or against really, really bad people, you're still going to play like shit because you just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I personally feel like you have to go through the boredom, like a lot of the time, in order to learn a hero correctly. You have to go through the boredom phase,
Yeah.
and then you take like a break to the point where it would be fun to play it again, and then you play it. Like for example, when we did the scrim with our Henry stack that we're playing with, I was playing Doom, and I don't know. Would you say that I played decently that game despite the game kind of looking fucked?
Yeah.
Like I feel like the game was a lot easier. And I can guarantee you, if I'm Pugna or something that I have not been playing, I feed fucking relentlessly.
Yeah, you guys would have gotten completely rolled. I think that you played a big role in keeping your team in the game for a long time after the point where like you guys had basically lost. And aside from the itemization and skill build changes that you and I have already talked about, I think that you played like, you just immediately recognized, I have to do this person every fight, otherwise we lose. And you started doing that, and then suddenly the game was like, potentially winnable again.
We're actually winning fights, yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I'm not like tooting my own horn, because that's literally one of like 3 heroes that I can play right now.
Yeah.
So it's not like a toot of my own fucking horn, because I suck right now. Like I need to play more. But it's like Doom, Nature's Prophet, ironically Sniper.
Dude, you should figure out how to play that hero on the offlane. I bet it's not bad with like some.
I've been doing it, dude. I've been going
like Tide or Centaur in front, or Brewmaster or something like that. Sniper.
I've been like Earth Spirit, Treant.
Yeah.
So I've tried a lot of builds, and this goes back to trying things and thinking it's the best way to go. I have been winning on my main with Sniper offlane.
I believe
so. I'm going like Atos, sometimes Veil of Discord, Blink. Force Staff is really good, because anything that can have the cooldown lowered, because Sniper's got the 25% cooldown reduction.
So good.
Yeah, Necro is really good for farming. Just go Necro 1 and then like farm and push lanes with it. And then like eventually a Sheep Stick, because the lower cooldown on the Sheep Stick is actually ridiculous. Like if you Atos Sheep somebody in a Shrapnel with a Shrapnel slow, like they fucking die.
Yeah.
It's legitimately not bad. because he has all talents. On one side, they're damage, and then on the other side, it's actually like utility talents. Like he has 20-30% shrapnel slow. It's like a gale. Like if you get shrapnel, it's like getting venomous galed. And like with a 25% cooldown reduction, he's always gonna have 3 shrapnels for a fight. So it's if you Atos somebody in shrapnel,
they just take a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's like Atosing somebody. Like people go Atos on Queen of Pain, people go Atos on Timbersaw. Viper, right? What do all of these heroes do? They have some like ground targeted thing that they want to set up for with Atos.
Yep.
Sniper has that. Like you Atos somebody and you shrapnel. You Atos somebody and you put down the nether toxin. It's the same thing.
Totally. And here's the thing about Sniper too. Is like he's a hero that people are going to jump on because he's so long ranged. And that's why Hex is literally the best item to go on the hero, because a Storm is going to jump you. A Spectre is going to jump you.
Atos as well. And I've been killing people when they go on me and I Atos.
Because they can't dodge it at 0 range. Right? It just instantly roots them, and then they get hexed, and then they're completely separated from their team, and you just beat the shit out of them because they're way too deep. I swear to God,
I'm winning half of the fights because people are like over-committing to get me.
Yes.
But then we have heroes in the other roles that are doing as much damage as a sniper in those roles would. So it's like, you go on me, then my Jug fucking wipes the floor with you. You go on me, my Viper wipes the floor with you. You go on them, I wipe the floor with you. And I also have this utility that I'm providing to my team when I go for this build. Like it's actually legit. I legitimately think there's something there, and I'm glad that we have a team that I think they're going to be cool with trying it out.
Hey, don't give that shit away.
Whatever, man. Nobody's going to take Offlane Sniper seriously until we start fucking with it.
Right.
Totally. Oh my God. It's actually not. I ironically started doing it. Then every time at the end of the game, I'd look at the damage that I did in the game. And it's like 40,000 when the next guy did like 20,000. It's like, fuck, what is this?
Yeah, you just like discovered a new Venomancer or Zeus or Viper or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
All right, let's get into Alchemy Answers.
Yeah, okay, let's get into it.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and introduce it. Welcome, everybody. Actually, hold on one sec. I'm going to start a new recording of this. By the way, I just recorded that whole conversation that we had. I'm going to turn that shit into content because that shit was bingo.
Good. Okay, go for it. Yeah, go for it. That's great. That means I have to make one less video this week.
Exactly. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Alchemy Answers episode 29. We're almost to 30, which is how old I am. God damn, I'm thank you for tuning in. Thanks for submitting your questions this week. We're going to go ahead and jump right into our Patreon questions and then take a bunch from chat because our patrons were a little bit lazy this week. We love you guys, but remember to continue to submit your questions and we'll keep answering them. So,
question. Yeah, I got you. Question number 1. What is the best place to watch pro replays with a specific hero? I can literally tell you exactly where to go. Dota2protracker.com. Go there. And you can click on your favorite hero and then see like the last 20 games played by pros in pub matches on that hero. And if you go to those pros on Dota Buff, they probably played it in a professional game if you want to see that. But that's a really great place to start. And that is probably my favorite resource right now for learning the game. Like legitimately, I can't think of another resource unless they sponsor us for learning the game.
Yeah, not only that, but it also detects, like, it has a list of people's Smurfs. So if you want to watch Arteezy play, but you know he never has public data, it'll have Arteezy Smurf 2 and 3, and and if you click on the player in Dota 2 Pro Tracker, then you can go and see what they're playing in their last however many games.
Yep. That's the great thing is that it's like these people are trying to hide their profiles, but Valve, being Valve, just makes it public by putting the live matches on the front page, and then that's where the Dota 2 Pro Tracker pulls from. So it doesn't matter if your profile's private to Dota Buff. That just means the information is not accessible through the APIs, but the matches are still public and viewable in the game, so Dota 2 Pro Tracker will pull from them, which is fantastic. So you can see everybody's stuff in there, which is great. Okay. Akiri asks, question, is giving up First Blood worth getting 4 bounties? Yes.
Yeah.
They're 200 gold each at the first.
When you say 200 gold, it's for your team.
For your split on your
200
team.
gold for your whole team. So you're trading, if you were to get all 4 bounties, you get 800 gold for your whole team. Each, or total, right? So your whole team gets 800 gold
800
versus
gold advantage.
losing what, like 400 gold to the other team, something like that.
It's like 300. It's like 270 or something like that for first blood. So
yeah. So the math checks out. The experience is like completely negligible at level 1.
It's nothing. It's so little at level 1. It's actually pathetic.
Yeah. So like you literally get more experience from killing like one creep than you do from killing a hero at level.
Yep. It's disgusting actually. It's worth it. Yeah. I would say like ideally you want to aim. I mean, you obviously want to aim to not give away first blood, but if you, because like if you're trading first blood for 1 bounty rune, that's not worth it.
Right.
But if you're trading first blood for 2 bounty runes, then yeah, that's going to be worth it.
Yeah, and actually,
I would say most of the time, if you're trading first blood, it's probably because you're trying to get that 1 greedy bounty, and in that scenario, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. That's the only kill where other than streaks, that's the only kill where I'd actually say you don't want to trade first blood for a bounty, unless it's very late in the game and you're not trading like a huge streak for it.
Yeah, and what you mean to say there is like if you have secured 2 or 3 bounty runes, then getting that 1 extra one for first blood is not worth it.
Right? Yes, precisely.
If you're getting 0 bounty runes, then it might actually be worth it, like because to run and try and fuck with the enemy team getting all 4.
Yep. Lots of chat in here. Theory crafting. Enigma's flame. He's always on top of things, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's your boy from Pugna, isn't he?
He's been with us, since Pugna. He's been the mod for the Pugna Discord and now the Dota Alchemy Discord.
Do you remember when I pulled that guy in when we first started Dota Alchemy? And I pulled that guy in who just tweeted me and he's like, "Hey, can I be a mod on your Discord?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, go for it." And then you were just like, "Jenkins, this is not how it works. You have to earn it." But I mean, now I know. Now I know.
I mean, right. You can run your Twitch stream however you want.
No, with my Twitch stream, it's like I get enough viewers now that it's like I'm not just gonna mod everybody, because then you just have everybody as a mod. Like you need people need to earn their keep if you want to give them some special what's it called? Not special privileges, but some special power or authority or status. Because mods are important. It's like you're putting how many mods do we have in the Dota Alchemy Discord? Not many. 3. How many Patreon subscribers do we have? Not many compared to 60,000, almost 60,000 subscribers. It's like there are levels to it. Like with all the Patreon people, fuck man, I talk to them like every day. They're like some of my best friends. Well, I mean, they probably don't think that. They're probably just like, oh, fucking Jenkins. But I talk to Hawk Illionaire all the time. I talk to Turtle all the time. Like these are people it's different. So I don't know. There are levels to it, in life when you're going to develop a relationship with somebody. It can't just be somebody tweets at you like, "Hey, can I be a close friend to you?" It's fuck yeah, let's do it.
Listen,
that's just weird.
It's the difference between Twitter and it's the difference between Tinder and actually building a relationship with somebody.
Right, exactly.
You trying to hook up with your mods, or are you just trying to
Can we talk about a concept right now? We don't have that many questions, so I do just want to talk about this quickly.
Sure.
So, have you ever thought about all of the people that you knew from high school, all of the people that you knew from college, from all maybe the sports that you're doing, and they're just these different groups and these different people, and it's not like you dislike any of them. Like there are great people that I knew in high school that I wish that I kept in contact with, and I wish that I had Skype conversations with them because they're from my childhood, man. They're like brothers and sisters. But when you go through life, the list of people that you would want to closely relate to, it just expands and expands and expands. And if you were to have a phone call conversation with each one of those people once a month, it would take you a full-time job's worth of time to keep in contact with all of your childhood friends and all of the people that you met in high school. You know what I mean? There's actually not enough time to talk to everybody that you've ever met. And that's kind of screwed up to me because it's there are so many people that influence me massively and I like them, but it's they got to work, I got to work. There are other people I'm going to keep in better contact with my parents, obviously, because I love my parents. I'm going to keep in better contact with people that I live near because you can actually go and see. It's just a weird thing in life when you meet so many people that you can't feel bad about it. You can't feel bad about it because nobody can do it. If somebody says that they can do it, they do not have a career because they can't you can't manage both.
Yeah, literally all they do is keep in contact with people then. Because
Right.
there's just too many connections. It is really interesting though, because I grew up with like a really core group of friends that I knew from like literally an infant until I graduated from high school, because I went to this really small high school in this really small town.
How
And
small are we talking? Because I went to a small high school
my
too. So
graduating class was like 55 people.
okay, same. Yeah, that was like the same for me. Like it was like a hillbilly kind of high school out in the sticks. Yeah, same here.
So I literally have like probably what I would consider like 15 brothers, because I literally spent, you know, my entire life growing up with them. Yeah. And so it's interesting because now I keep in touch with basically none of them. You know, they're all living their lives. Some of them are married, some of them have kids, some of them are like traveling the world, some of them are starting businesses. I am focusing on my own shit. I just don't have time to do anything other than Dota Alchemy and my other job, basically, and maintaining my relationship with Kat. And then where's the time to, you know, and you don't want to just text them and be like, "Hey, dude, how you doing?" Because that's like really impersonal.
Oh, that's that's bullshit.
And if especially
that's
somebody
worse.
especially somebody that you like have this connection with, that you know really love as a person, that you've grew up with and have super like deep connections with, you don't want to just like passively kind of just interact with them just to like, you know, say that you're doing it. You want to actually have a conversation with them, catch up, do that kind of stuff. So I went back to a high school reunion for my 10-year high school reunion last summer, and it was actually insane how instantly we were just back in high school, like with everybody.
I've noticed that too. I'm the same, where there's people that like okay, so I'm back in Kingston, finally back in my hometown, and my childhood best friend, like literally we were like like you said, we're like brothers. Like we had this plan of like living together when we're 30 and having wives and living in the same house. You know, that level of like, he was my next door neighbor, and we hung out every single day for like 8 hours. We played World of Warcraft together.
That's called being a Mormon, Jenkins.
Whatever, man. You know, it's like, yeah, I maybe he's a pretty sexy guy, man. You know, maybe I go for it. But anyway, and he lives probably like, I don't know. Geez, it's like I have a car. I have my mom's car because she's over in Ireland, like dealing with some shit. So I've had her car for months, and I could just drive over 30-second drive to his house. He's playing RuneScape. He plays his games, RuneScape and WoW. I'm playing Dota. And I'm finally back in Kingston after traveling like to Moonduck, living with my girlfriend in America. And I haven't we haven't hung out. We talk to each other all the time on Discord. And it's like, oh yeah, next weekend we'll do it. Next weekend. But it's just it is hard. But when you do finally have a conversation with them, or like get in person with them, it's like you were never gone. You know what I mean? It's like you were never apart, which is awesome.
Like There's of my buddies,
of friends that I have like that.
All of my buddies from high school that I would hang out with, there was no small talk. It was like immediately like, "Hey dude, how's it?" Like, "It's really good to see you," and just instantly into like super deep conversations about life and shit.
Yeah,
There's no like, "Yeah, like how's the kids? How's the wife?" It's just like, dude, I gotta talk to you about existence, man.
Yeah, if you're having, the thing is though, when you meet people that are in your same age group, it's like they probably had the same like philosophical quandaries and existential questions that you have had as well. So it is really nice. It's like, man, how you feeling about just getting old? Like, you know, how you feeling about still playing games in like your mid-20s?
Right.
Because and then you know, it's great. It's good to talk to people like that, because it turns out they're all still fucking playing games. They're all still you know, struggling just as much as I am. So it's like, dude. Okay, maybe I'm not so weird and outcastish, because all the people that I grew up with are, you know, they're dealing with their own struggles.
Yeah.
Similar struggles, you know. So
yeah, let's bring it back to the questions. But
okay,
you know, that's a good point. You know, and just the last little piece of knowledge there is, you know, it's something that I also struggle with in games and toxicity and shit. It's like, we talked about it before. Like, when you find yourself being toxic to somebody, it's like, you know, that person's probably going through shit too, right?
They have this whole history.
It's just
and
another
complicated
person
life.
like me.
Yeah. We are part of the generation where we will still be gaming hard in the 30s, says Prime Operator. You know what I fucking love? The prime operator is Brazilian, you're American, and I'm Canadian, and we're here talking on the internet on a fucking YouTube stream about how we're going to be playing games in our 30s. It's just it's like beautiful. It's actually like beautiful to some degree.
That's one of the reasons I really love the Dota community. Because a lot of them are like, there's a lot of people our age in the Dota community. Like,
yep. I think gaming is just aging. Like it's just I talked to, god damn, this is getting off topic again, but quickly I talked to my old 5th grade math teacher. He works at the beer store sometimes, which Canada, we sell alcohol in like government run stores, so he works in one of those stores, and he just does it for fun because he just, anyway. So I talked to him, and he was just saying like he cannot get into games. Like he's tried and he just can't. He didn't grow up with it, so he just can't comprehend it. And I think that's the problem with a lot of like the 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds that are playing games. They're oddities. They're weird. It's like, oh, the grandpa gamer. But I feel like in like 50 years, there will be everybody will be a grandpa gamer because we grew up with it. So it's not something we have to wrap our heads around. We're just already playing games, and it won't be such an oddity. So I think that's what we're witnessing happening with gaming. It's just
that's why esports is going to be massive.
I hope so.
Like there's basically no chance that it isn't, unless we all just like get EMP'd by the sun or something like that and suddenly go back to the Stone Age. There's just too many people who play games now that there's like no way that competitive gaming won't be a thing.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I hope we're making the right choice of committing many hours and resources to doing stuff in esports. I really hope that. Anyway, back to the questions. Speaking of people that we have relationships with, Bungle No More. I think this is he's a first timer. He might be a newbie. Bungle No More. Has Bungle No More put any questions? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He says, question: when solo offlaning versus a lane with high kill potential, is it worth it to stand in experience range even if they are denying a decent amount of creeps? If not, what should you do? Okay, so if you're solo offlaning, then experience from denies is not as bad as it once was. I believe it's at about 50% right now. So it could be worse. I mean, if you do the math, if you're against a dual lane and you're getting denied and they're splitting experience, if they're denying everything and you're splitting experience, then you're fine. Like that's an even lane. And if you're in the 2v1, if it's a 3v1, that's even better. So yeah, you should do that if you can do it. However, I would personally say that there are probably other options, such as cutting the creep wave, such as, let's say, your sniper, just hypothetically, not like there's any sniper guide out there or anything people are following right now, but let's say that your sniper, shrapnel the wave, pull the camp back. Like there are ways, pull the wave back to your tower by pulling the side camp. There are ways that you can like push pull and fuck with the lane. Anytime you find yourself in a scenario where the enemy team is just staticking the lane and that's not what you want, like engage chaos mode. Just introduce chaos into the lane, push the lane, fucking kill yourself to push the lane if you have to, cut the creep wave, and I think you'll generally get more from that.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is that yes, it's fine as long as you are getting experience to just kind of be passive, but there's probably ways that the lane could be going better. You could be getting experience and also some farm if you do some other things. Yep. The worst thing, of course, that can happen is you getting completely zoned away from the creep waves and not getting any experience. Then you have to really do something drastic, like running to their tier 3 to cut the wave, tripling up the wave and then dying or something like that. But
oh man, I'm just reading a comment from the support sniper guy. He's like, why don't you use your platform to do something positive for the metagame? And I think did you respond to that?
Yeah, I did. I was like, dude, this guy's missing the point so hard. And then he told me I was missing the point.
It's like I'm not telling people to go out there and like fucking, push over old people or something. What am I a bad person for trying to enjoy the game and get other people to enjoy the game? Come on.
Exactly.
Come on. Hey, what's the That's so funny. Anyway, unless you want to say anything else about like a final note about the experience range.
The support sniper guide.
Oh, sure. If you want to get into that, I'm down. I'm absolutely down to get into that.
Here's the thing, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just, the guy who made that comment clearly thinks that every game of Dota is supposed to just be exactly like what he watches the pros do. It's not going to happen in a pub, so just fucking enjoy yourself. You know?
Yeah.
If it works, it works. Just because it's unorthodox.
I think if people are losing the support sniper, they're bad. I'm actually like every single game that I'm playing with it, I have people keep commenting like, "Oh, you're just a 7K player and that's how you're winning with." I'm fucking 6K. I'm not 7K. I'm 6.3K on my main. My Smurf that I got to 6K is the exact same bracket. I'm playing in the exact same games and destroying with support sniper. So I think it's
also completely irrelevant too, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a 6K player playing in 3K and you're still winning with support sniper. You're not winning with support sniper because you're 6K. You're winning with support sniper because the concepts that you're employing that you know because you're 6K are correct. And that's all you taught in the video is literally how to play position 4.
It's like Henry's escaping the trench. It's kind of like he's just escaping the trench to prove that you can escape the trench, and anybody that makes excuses for not being able to escape the trench is making fucking excuses.
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of the thing. But then again, like I actually think I could maybe get 7K with support sniper. We'll see.
Dude, I mean, I played like 25 games of less than 1K or like 1K / less than 1K MMR playing only position 5 because everybody's like, oh, you can't play position 5 to climb out of the super trench. And all I did was just fucking buy wards and then like take farm and push some waves because my team wasn't doing it. And I won like literally 15 straight games playing position 5.
Actually, this funny enough ties into Hawkillionaire's question, where he says, is it possible to get Divine and Immortal by playing support? That was the entire point that I was trying to make with the support sniper video.
Exactly.
Is that I was actually triggered by all the people not asking the question, because it's a perfectly valid question, and I know with Hawkillionaire, we've talked about him. He's fucking ravenous. He just wants all the information he can get. That guy is, consuming like none other. It's scary. But it's more so the people that say, I can't do it. I cannot deal with shitty cores in my games. I'm losing because I'm playing support. If I was just a core, I'd be 6K. Fucking bullshit. If I can do it with sniper,
right? Exactly.
Maiden or Earth Spirit or actually a good hero,
like a bad
rather than
dude.
Sniper. Abaddon, yeah.
I played a game yesterday where the offlaner was so garbage. I was playing 5 and my 4 and I were playing really aggressive and we killed their offlaner twice. And then the Abaddon came to lane, and he fucking destroyed us because he saved the guy that was terrible, baiting us under his tower over and over and over by being terrible. And the Abaddon was like, nope, keeping this guy alive, keeping him alive, keeping him alive, keeping him alive. And we ended up just getting completely stomped because the Abaddon stopped us from feeding off of the terrible player on his team.
Yep. Yeah, I think if you're losing with support, then you're just not doing shit correctly, and the can't win with support is just another one of the excuses that's equivalent to I can't win because my teammates suck. Like they're on the same level.
Yeah.
I think it's just these excuses are something that blind you from actually looking at games and realizing what the problem is. Usually the problem is that your wards fucking suck, or that you're not smoking enough, or that you're not having enough impact in the lanes. And, there are going to be the occasional games that you lose because your team sucks, but that goes for every role in every game and every competitive team-based thing that has ever existed. And you just want to be better than your bracket. So over a period of time, you'll win games consistently.
Yeah.
Like using one single game as an excuse for look how shit my team is. And the amount of coaching sessions that I do where somebody links me a game where their team sucks. And I'm not naming any names. It hasn't been in the past couple of weeks. More so when I started coaching, people would link me games where they would own and their team sucks. And it's like, what are you trying to get out of this? Like, your teammates don't fucking matter. It doesn't help you at all for me to say, yeah, your team sucks. That does not help you at all.
Right.
What helps you is to say, here are mistakes that you're making. I want a game that's just going to that's going to show the most amount of mistakes. So if you're paying me for this, you can get the most value out of this. And me telling you what you already think, which is your teammates suck in the occasional game, yeah, that doesn't help you because that's the same thing for me. I have fucking dumb teammates all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm 6K. It's like, It just happens. It's just Dota. It's just team-based games. Sometimes you get idiots, people that don't play a certain role. You can't use it as an excuse because if you do, you're just not going to learn anything.
Yeah, dude, I played, I was a huge baseball player for a lot of my life, and I've literally lost games because of my teammates in that, where I was a pitcher, and pitchers have essentially like 90% of the control over the game because you're involved in every single play defensively. So if you are way better than the other team, then they will never score. And like there's a couple games that I lost because I pitched super well and the ball would be hit super easy play to one of my defenders and they'd fuck it up. And it's like, I have 90 plus % control over this game and I'm still losing because of a mistake by my teammates. Sometimes that happens. 90% of the game, I'm going to win. But
yep. I mean, that's why there are best of sevens in baseball, because you just want to like, you have this field of probability.
Yeah.
No pun intended with baseball field, but you have this field of probability. And you just want to give the highest chance that you'll see the better team win over a period of time. That's why there are best of threes in Dota, because sometimes shitty teams take a single game off of way better game. Look at VP. They lose like the first game in every best of three, and then just annihilate their opponents in the next one. Do you think VP is saying how shit their team is or making excuses for the first one? No, they're going into the next game and they're just being like, we're going to play fucking better. We played like shit. We did dumb shit. We were messing around, or we were doing this or doing that, or we shouldn't have done that. And then they focus up for the next game and they win it.
Yeah.
But they still lose. They still lose occasionally. I mean, always, actually.
Yeah.
And they're like the best team in the world. Anyway, back to the questions. This is actually one for you, Donnie.
Sure.
Take a wild guess who it's from. It's a specific question for you. Donnie, in your recent video, you said that you should almost never use Glyph on the tier 2 tower, that it's better to save it for the tier 3 tower. Can you explain why this is better? Doesn't glyphing the tier 2 make it not delay them getting to the tier 3? Or do tier 3s have higher armor or something like that?
So first of all, yes, tier 3s do have higher armor, but that's like
more damage too.
That's a pretty minor point. The main reason that glyphing your tier 2, and it's really important to understand, like if there is zero chance that the other team is going to push high ground after killing your tier 2, then sure, protect your tier 2, glyph your tier 2, take a fight around your tier 2. But if taking a fight around your tier 2 then loses you the game because the team is going to go high ground afterwards, the point being that we've talked about where you should take fights in Dota. So if you take a fight on the opposite side of the map, then the other team, if they win, has to walk all the way across the map and push all of the creep waves to then kill your buildings. Since that's the objective of Dota, is killing the other team's buildings, just think about it. Where is the closest place outside of your base that you could possibly fight and lose your tier 2? It's literally right next to your base, which means that if you lose a fight there, they are inevitably going to push high ground afterwards. And that is why you don't want to take a fight at your tier 2 unless you guys are stronger, because and demonstrably stronger. It can't just be like, we have like a 50% chance of winning the fight. Because if you just sacrifice your tier 2 tower and then you defend with the high ground advantage that is afforded to you by being in your base, then you automatically take a better fight. And so
yes.
And here's the biggest
high ground
thing.
is like one of the leading causes of throwing in Dota. It's like trying to take high ground. It is probably the leading. It's like Roche and high ground are the two places where teams always throw, even on a professional level.
And the reason that the tier 3 is so much more important than the tier 2 is twofold. One, if you lose your tier 3, you now don't have shrines, which means you have zero map control. You have no way to get to the Roche pit. You have no way to get to split pushing locations quickly. Number 2 is that if you glyph the tier 2 tower, then it literally just delays the other team for the seconds that the glyph is active. That is it.
Because you don't want to fight a tier 2 anyway.
And if you glyph the tier 3 tower, not only does it delay them by that 5 seconds, but now they are in a position where they are literally next to your fountain. And they're as close to you as possible for people that are respawning. And they're going to have to reset because there's a very good chance that they're not all 5 on the high ground. most high ground pushes are like 1 or 2 people jump in, the other people kind of get closer. Maybe the supports start tanking the tier 3 tower. And if you can then glyph it at the last second to keep it alive, their support might be getting low. They're going to have to reset and then retake your high ground. And so glyphing the tier 3 tower literally gives you 2 chances to defend your high ground. Whereas if you glyph the tier 2, you basically just concede your high ground. So it's the difference between being able to defend your high ground.
You've one fight on the high ground. That's it.
Yeah, maybe not even that, because if you lose the fight at your tier 2, then your high ground.
Oh yeah, if you go fight the tier 2 and you've glyphed it, you're just fucked.
Yeah.
The problem with like a tier, it's just an innate problem with like tier 2 pushes. Usually the enemy team is like angling to possibly high ground you soon. So if you give them an opportunity to do that, you can lose the game right there. Dota is all about probability. It's just like risk and reward. The risk of glyphing your tier 2 is incredibly high, and the potential reward is quite low.
Yep.
I would say there are the occasional games where pros do glyph the tier 2 if they are sure that at that exact moment they can take a fight, such as if they have a Terrorblade BKB reveal or a Blink Dagger on Earthshaker or something like that. But it's because of that the enemy team, if the tier 2 gets glyphed in a pro game, they're fucking gone. They're so gone because it's like, oh God, why are they glyphing a tier 2? We need to get out of here. Because it's that bad. It's usually that bad. So I agree, and I'm glad you talked about that in that video or replay review. I don't even know when that replay review was because I wasn't involved in that. Was that when I was gone for the week? Or what?
It was one where you were gone for the week, and you can see in that clip, like it starts out with the other team going high ground. Is because the tier 2 is up, the glyph was up, the core was dead, the support gets picked off, then somebody else gets picked off, and then then the other team starts hitting the tier 2 tower, and then they glyph. So there's literally 4 dead and no glyph, which means that the high ground is just gone. It's just completely gone.
Okay, final question. Now that we're done the high ground talk. From a Hawkillionaire as well. Should the carries in the side lanes come over to assist in getting bounties during the laning stage 0 to 10 minutes, or is CS more important? I ask because they never help me get. Yes, they should. If they are not coming over to help with the bounties and there's CS that they need to be getting, then it means that you or them are not playing the lane correctly. Because if you are taking an advantage in a lane, then you should be able to push out the lane first, or single pull the easy camp. And then at like 4 minutes, and then send a huge wave into your opponents. Like basically, the carry shouldn't have to miss CS in order to get the bounties. And if there is CS that he's going to miss, he should miss it anyway. Because bounties at 5 minutes are worth 250 gold. An entire creep wave is not worth that.
Yeah.
So
unless there's like 4 range creeps pushing into your tower. Then...
Yeah, or if like the opponents are just going to destroy you for the bounties anyway, then it's like, fuck it. Maybe a support can run over and try to steal one.
Like everything, it's somewhat situational, but for the vast majority of situations, the core should be helping secure the bounty runes.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's it. That's all the questions we have. Half of them came from Hawkillionaire. No surprise there. He keeps asking me to stop calling him Hockey, and I keep saying, yeah, no, dude, I'll stop calling you Hockey. And then every time I call him it, and then I put it on all the videos. Yeah, I'm going to release a video with him in it of the replay or the coaching session that we did. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to call him Hockey in it right at the start. Good. And put it in the title just to fuck with him.
Good. Very good from asking so many specific questions, making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, don't you dare push me out of my comfort zone, you bastard.
All right, let's take a few questions from chat.
Okay.
Because they've been hanging out with us, listening to us rant about random shit for like half of the stream so far.
So, okay, Jeremiah, I'm here to compliment Jenkins' hair. Nice hair, very silky smooth. Did Zohan cut it? Yeah, actually, I was just talking to Zohan. We were at the barber shop, and his kids are doing pretty well. I think his daughter dropped out of college, so he's a little upset about that. But it's like this in this world, you can kind of learn a lot of the stuff on the internet. That's what he was saying. Like, he's an older guy, so but he still understands that. He still understands that it's a new era. You don't have to go to college.
No idea what's going on.
Okay.
How can a Drow strat work?
You pick Drow.
Yeah, you pick Drow, and hopefully your mid picks something like either a Medusa or a Quap or an OD or literally any ranged hero. And even if they don't, then hopefully they pick something like a Kunkka or something tanky, and then you just farm. If you have a good lane, then you just mow down their towers. If you have a bad lane, then you go farm the ancient camp over and over and over until you have a butterfly, and then you mow down towers.
Jenkins, how do you play Dota after arm day at the gym? I actually go to the gym at like 5 a.m. right before I go to bed, so I don't do anything after going to the gym. I know a lot of people don't like that because it kind of wakes you up, but I don't know. I find it fine. I find that I'm like exhausted, so I fall asleep pretty quickly. But I wouldn't play after your arms feel like noodles if you've done well enough working out. If you're just fucking stagnating, then you're a bitch, and that's not what going to the gym or playing Dota is for. Just like I'm gonna go to the gym and maintain. Nah, dude, you go to the gym to get better, So
Yeah.
I think your arms should feel like noodles.
Uh,
Actually, okay. Let me say this. So I was playing Dota with. I don't think he would want to be named because I think it's like his escape. But I was playing Dota with an NHL player, which is really cool, who I met through a caster, who I guess I should have named because that would make it obvious. But I met through a caster, and we like scheduled to play because like everybody has other stuff to do. So we're gonna play Party Queue this night. And then I came home and I was just talking about how hard it was at the gym, and I was sitting here thinking like, oh my god, I'm talking about this in front of like an NHL guy. He's gonna call me a pussy. He's gonna he's this big buff guy, and then he just said like, oh, if your arms are feeling like noodles, that means it was a good workout. Great job, dude. It's like, are you fucking with me? Are you being irate? He was just being like, he actually had that attitude.
yeah.
And I feel like that now that I've thought about it, it actually makes sense to have somebody who's like competitively really good at something. In his case, hockey, which is like, fuck, I wish Dota was at that point. But he's really good at hockey and super competitive. And it's like, you know what? It makes sense to have that attitude of like not shitting on people for being pussies. And it's like this scrawny nerd going to the gym, which was me, feeling like my arms are noodles. It's like he was encouraging that. He was like being positive about it. And it's like, I'm sitting here thinking he's going to bully me because he's this big buff guy who's like, obviously super fit enough to play professional hockey. And he's just like encouraging. And it's like, you know what? I bet you'd get the same thing from like PPD or Zai or whoever. If you say like, oh, I did this thing that it wasn't like involving good practice, they'd be like, fuck yeah, man, that's great. Like they'd love to hear that shit,
Yeah, as long
like
as you're not like, my team sucks, how do I win?
The excuses is what they would fucking hate.
Yeah.
That's what they would hate.
Yeah,
because they would be sick of hearing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
did kind of expect him to bully me because I play Dota. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. Blake Martinez is like that too. He's like
super positive, very nice.
Super positive, super wants to like get better at Dota. Like I remember when I was playing him with him, not playing him, back when like he was playing a lot with like the Moonduck guys. He would always like ask questions and like I don't know. I guess there's just this expectation with like super fit, successful, like hunk like dudes where it's like they're gonna have some, but it doesn't make any sense to have an ego at that point because in order to get to that point, they would have to have a really like good attitude for improving, and having an ego is fucking terrible for improving.
I don't know. I think it's a little different. I think you have an ego within your sphere. Like he probably has an ego against the other players in the NHL. Like,
but it's like a competitive ego though. It's like a one where he won't make excuses. Yeah, otherwise he wouldn't be at the point that he's making.
I'm gonna fuck these guys up in the next game. But when you, an outsider, it's kind of like the same thing where a lot of people are really scared to learn another language or like speak another language with people because they're like, oh, my grammar sucks. Like I don't know the vocabulary. But if you see somebody who doesn't know your language trying to speak your language, most of the time people will be like super happy that you're trying to communicate with them in their native language.
Yeah, no, my I get that from my mother-in-law all the time when I'll say Portuguese. I'm like a fucking clown, so I'm fine with. I like embarrassing, cringy humor. I like embarrassing myself to some degree. So I'll like say words that and I'll fucking butcher it, but she'll laugh and she'll keep telling me how to say it, and it's like it's a nice moment. You know what I mean? It's like she's just teaching. She wants to teach it. She wants to keep it alive. She likes her culture and wants to like teach it to me, some fucking like Canadian boy. But I will fuck things up. Portuguese is not easy, dude. Let me tell you. Prime Operator's fucking laughing his ass off.
Any idea how to play against an enemy that counters your hero plus 2 or 3 other counters? We actually talked about this. Like
build like tanky items, play in a completely different play style. Like just build to fuck those heroes and make it as hard for them to counter you as possible. And then because they've drafted their entire game around fucking countering you, you will just destroy them. You will destroy them if you're just not getting countered by them. That's such an easy way to win Dota is get countered, don't allow yourself to be countered. Now they do nothing. Congratulations, you've won.
Yeah, like if you're a Medusa and people are picking all these mono burn heroes, you just literally build like damage and armor, and you just play it like an agi hero. Like you don't even care about your mono pool very much.
Yep. Yeah, like Leshrac, if people pick anti-mage, I'll just go like Hood,
Medallion, Solar Crest.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hood Medallion, Lincoln Sphere, second item, BKB, and just
Yep.
like where I don't walk around doing tons of damage, but this guy's drafted his entire game and playing his entire game around mana voiding me, and it's like, well, good luck mana voiding a guy with those items.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Where do we post match IDs for replays? So where you can post match IDs for replays is if you go to patreon.com/Dota Alchemy, you sign up for the 4th tier, whatever the Alchluminati tier, you will be automatically put into a Discord chat where you can talk with us directly, and as well as you can post your replays in there. That's where we get all the replays from. Then we occasionally take some from chat, but usually there's enough. People are usually pretty ravenous for the replay reviews coming from the Patreon boys. So usually we don't really get to chat just because there's so many Patreon replay reviews. And this week we're going to try to have people call in. So if you want to get your replay reviewed, we're actually going to be doing like a kind of
Live
fast
mini
coaching session. So we can give you like the answers to your 3 most valuable, whatever's going to give you the most value questions, as well as look at your replay over like 10 minutes, and you can call in and be on stream and stuff. So if that sounds cool,
yep,
give us a gander at the old Patreon. There's my ad for today.
Nice, I love it.
Okay.
What do you think about mid AA? I saw a Chinese spammer who got like 70% win rate at 6k MMR.
Yeah, seems good.
Yeah, again, it's just like hero comfort. Like if you're super comfortable on a hero, you can play any matchup. You know, like
yeah, I agree.
It really doesn't matter what it's being picked against you. Some games are slightly harder than others, but you've played 1,000 games of Ancient Apparition, you know exactly what counters you, and you know how to play around it and itemize.
Yep. I think AA mid's fine, especially against like Alchemist and Huskar.
Yeah.
Some of these like really cancer heroes.
What to do when your towers are backdoor protected as Nature's Prophet and your teammates are not pushing? Jenkins, take it away.
Dog, your teammates should not be pushing shit if you're Nature's Prophet. Use your fucking ulti off cooldown. Send a treant straight down a lane. I don't care if you get farm or not. Your farm doesn't matter. You're feeding all the time anyway. If you send a treant straight down the lane, what do your creeps do? Because there's no creeps. They do that, and then they run, and then backdoors off. And then, sure, there'll be like a 15-stack creep wave because you've just cut 7 of them with your treant, but it doesn't matter because you can just go hit the racks on the other side, and then you ulti and kill the entire creep wave. Yeah, if your teammates are not to blame if the lanes aren't being pushed out, that's your fault. Like if the lanes aren't pushed on Nature's Prophet, I'm sorry, but that's your fault. Yeah. If you lose a game when you have all of their tier 3s or their tier 2s down, if you lose that game, that's your fault too. Like, it doesn't matter 5, 4, 3, 2, fucking 6, 7, 12, whatever role you are in as Nature's Prophet. If you have all their tier 2s down and you're not making your team win the game, there's a better way that you can play it, in my opinion. And I don't play it perfectly. I'm not saying that as somebody who thinks that I'm fucking playing Nature's Prophet perfectly. I'm not. It's just that whenever I make mistakes in a game, it's like I see all the mistakes that I'm making. Like, well, I probably don't see a lot of them, but I know I'm making mistakes. And still it feels like I always have control, and if I didn't have control, it was my fault. Like, I always have that feeling on Nature's Prophet. So yeah, you just send treants down the lane, man. You don't even need to kill. Just cut the wave with treants. Spam your ult off cooldown. It's easy.
I've been playing for about 600 hours, but still don't know what matchup/hero Lotus Orb is useful in. Can you? Yeah,
just single target heroes.
Single target stuff, and heroes that have things that you really want to dispel, like silences. Anybody that buys an Orchid, sure. Lotus Orb is good against because it allows you to save yourself or save a teammate. Most people that have decent stuns, Lotus Orb is really good against because, again, you can dispel. Right, it does purge most stuns. It purges like RP stun, doesn't it? Still.
If it's a strong dispel, it would, yeah. And I think it is a strong dispel.
I actually don't know. I might be mixing that up with Abaddon Shield, but it definitely gets rid of silences.
Abaddon Shield does. Shield does.
It definitely gets rid of silences, and like, for example, super good against Doom. You know, if you Lotus Orb the Doom, if you Lotus Orb an Omni Slash as a support, you just
it's a basic dispel, so it doesn't.
Okay. But if you Lotus Orb and Omni
Still really
Slash
good,
as
though.
a support, and you just like eat the whole Omni Slash from a Juggernaut, then you just like straight up win the fight every single time, pretty much.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's like a preventative thing. Like you put it on somebody, they can go in, and nobody's going to cast anything on them.
Yeah, you
It's
should
like a better
you,
blade mail for
you
that
should
reason.
always use it like a couple seconds earlier than you think you might need to. This is my best advice.
Although, in my opinion, I Universe said this in a game that I was playing with him, so this is like why it's my opinion because I fucking really respect that guy. He said if you ever go for like a Lotus Orb, 90% of the time right now, Greaves is a better choice.
That makes sense.
Like most of the time, you want to just because a lot of the time people are building a Lotus Orb to dispel something on themselves.
Yeah, and Greaves is just better for that.
And Greaves is just an insane item right now. But I mean that doesn't make Lotus Orb bad. It's just not picked up as much as a lot of these other broken items, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree. A couple other things you might want to build a Lotus Orb for is if you are, let's say you're a support and you're against a heavy physical damage team. It's really good when you're playing against a hero like PA or Drow or Terrorblade or something like that, because it not only gives you a massive amount of armor, but also the active can dispel a lot of stuff that they have.
Yep, agreed. Okay, we hit the 60-minute mark. My tummy's rumbling.
All right,
let's wrap it up.
Get the hell out of here. All right, thank you guys. Thanks, chat. Sorry we got to call it here, but we appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you all for replay review on Thursday.
Same time.
Otherwise, we'll see you next week for more Alchemy Answers. Have a good rest of your day, night, evening. Good luck in your games, and
keep it PMA.
PMA.